We always hear that love is a journey, but what does that path actually look like over a lifetime? Today, we're digging into three absolutely incredible true stories from the Crazy Love Stories blog. We're going to see how three different couples from three different decades navigated everything from these unbelievable chance encounters to heartbreaking separations, all to find and, more importantly, to keep love. And this right here, this beautiful line is from Valentina, one of the women whose story we'll get to know. It just perfectly captures a theme we're going to see over and over again today. This idea that love can feel like a force of nature, something that guides you somewhere totally unexpected, but exactly where you are always meant to be. All right, let's dive into part one, A Spark of Destiny. This is all about how these relationships began, and trust me, these aren't your typical dating app stories. Wow, what a way to start, right? This was Gulsen back in 1962. She was just a 17-year-old law student in Ankara. And she sees this guy, Atez, on the stairs at her university. And get this, he's talking to her friend and completely ignoring her. So in that moment, she makes this powerful, silent wish. And almost instantly, he turns around and speaks to her. For Gulsen, it felt like magic, like her wish came true right then and there. Okay, now let's jump forward to 2005 for a totally different vibe. This was Rafika's actual first thought when she saw Rudy at a dinner party. You can just feel the skepticism, right? She was a little embarrassed about her English, and she was definitely not looking for love. And this is a really important point. That spark of destiny, it doesn't always feel like a lightning bolt. Sometimes it can start with a little bit of doubt. And then there's this, which sounds like something straight out of an old black and white movie. It's 1966, a 19-year-old Valentina is leaving a cafe, and a man in a trench coat just stops her on the street. He says he was drawn to her, asks for her full name, and simply promises to send her a letter at the main post office. No phone number, no last name, nothing. Just this mysterious promise that would kick off a decades-long love story with a man named Leo. Okay, on to part two, Love Against the Odds. So they've met. But now comes the first huge test for every single one of them, trying to build a real relationship across hundreds, or in some cases, thousands of miles. So this slide really puts it into perspective, doesn't it? I mean, look at this. 5 years of long-distance letters for Adis and Gulsen, 4 years for Valentina and Leo, and even in the modern era with planes, Rivika and Rudy still spent a full year flying back and forth between Paris and Istanbul. It's just a powerful reminder that no matter the technology, distance is a serious test of love. I absolutely love this detail from Gulsen. She said she monopolized the postbox key for 5 years while waiting for letters from eights. It's such a charming picture in your mind, but it speaks volumes. It's about patience, it's about trust, it's about a level of dedication that's hard to imagine in a world of instant messages. Their whole connection was built on the anticipation of waiting for the mailman. All right, part three, life's unexpected turns. And if you thought conquering distance was a big hurdle, well, life was about to throw them some serious curveballs that would change everything. This is where Valentina and Leo's story just takes a heartbreaking turn. So after 4 years of writing letters and visiting, they have a fight. And in a foolish moment to try and get his attention, Valentina lets Leo see her with another guy. It completely backfired. Angry and hurt, she just jumps on a train and goes home, probably just thinking she needed some space. And this is the moment, the sliding doors moment that changes everything. Leo, realizing he'd made a mistake, travels all the way to her hometown to apologize and bring her back. But he missed her. She had just left on a spontaneous trip with a friend 30 minutes before he rang her doorbell. 30 minutes. That tiny 30-minute gap, it led to this. 8 years. During that time, Valentina, thinking Leo had just moved on, got married and had a son. Leo, completely heartbroken, suffered a severe radiation incident at his job and a life-threatening illness. 8 years of totally separate lives, all because of a 30-minute near miss. It's just unbelievable. And these kinds of life-altering twists weren't just for Valentina and Leo. As you can see here, every single couple had their make-or-break moment. For Hattes and Gulsen, on their first real date, he drops a bombshell. He's divorced and has a kid, which was a huge deal in 1960s Turkey. For Rafika, it was getting pregnant unexpectedly at 42, then moving to a country where she was totally alone. And then for Valentina and Leo, after finally getting back together, they had a miracle baby the doctor said was impossible. Each one of these stories is just a masterclass in resilience. So, what's the lesson in all of this? I mean, After navigating decades of joy and hardship and these incredible twists, these couples shared some really profound wisdom. This is the heart of it all. Part 4, The Wisdom of a Lifetime. So, for anyone out there who's still looking for their person, the advice is really about starting with yourself. Gulsen and Rafika both emphasize trusting your gut, your intuition. Rafika even suggests you should literally write down what you want in a partner to get really clear in your own heart, and then just let it go. Their shared belief seems to be that when it's right, you don't have to force it. As Rafika says, you just know. And for those of us who are already on the journey with someone, the advice is all about kindness, respect, and forgiveness. But that last point from Rafika, wow, that one really hits home. If you can't solve a problem, you must accept it. Just think of Gulsen accepting Ates's past right at the beginning. This is so crucial. Love isn't about fixing someone, it's about embracing the whole person, all their imperfections included. And I think Valentina, after everything she went through, the separation, the new marriage, the loss, and the reunion, she just sums it all up perfectly with this. Her story is the ultimate example of that battle between the logical brain, which would have told her to just move on, and the persistent heart, which finally led her back to her ocean. And so, this is where we end up, with this big question. All these stories started with a spark of destiny, right? That feeling of finding the right person. But they lasted through decades of conscious effort, forgiveness, and resilience, all the hard work of building a life together. So maybe the real lesson is that it's not one or the other. Maybe true love is something that you find in a single moment, and then you spend the rest of your life building it, day by day.